Well, good morning. It's been another day or so. It's been so hot. It's been close to 40 here. So I've just been really doing a lot of other stuff, kind of working in the garden and just kind of slowly plugging away, especially this room, because I have to have the power off. There's no fan and it gets really hot in here. This way is like directly south. So I can work till around 11 a.m. and then it just becomes unbearable in here. So yeah, Sam's still away. So I'm just taking it a little slower. That's why, not shaving and stuff like that. Looking like a bit of a bum, but whatever. So what I've just finished doing is I've finished labeling. Got one little label left to do. I got a little label maker thing here. And then basically all I do is just print out a few copies. I'm putting one here, putting one kind of up in the hallway where they go through the floor, and then putting one in the kitchen just so I don't lose track of where they are. When I'm doing things, 6 months down the road, I don't know which cables are which. It doesn't really matter, but it's good to have them labeled, especially here. They want them labeled here when you're doing your inspection and stuff like that. So basically I bundled together each of the different runs, which are normally inside the big plastic protection cable, the black one. And then all these bits, you strip it, you put them down, and then you bundle them together, and then you label the bundles, and then you kind of splay them all out and put them into the breakers, which will be my next thing after this. When I disconnect all this, and I'll put it in for real this time. And then I'll work on that center section, which is all the main cables. This side is going to be, I've only really got 2 circuits. I've got some lights in here, a light in the living room on this side, and then like one little corner in here of plug sockets. So there's just 2 circuits that this whole board is really doing. And then it controls all the other circuits and all the other boards outside. I'm going to be using one of these is going to be for a future car charger. You label it a certain way, and then you tell them, this is going to be used in the future, and you just kind of leave the wires down, but you put basically ends on them just so they never get electrified. And then I've got a thing in the other end that'll make sure it never gets electrified. So yeah, let's make some labels. So basically in this case, I'm going to do 3. You just print it, and then just shoots out the side here. Oop. Does, trust me. Is it on? Yeah. Print. Yeah. 3. And it just... I'm printing 3 at once, and then I just take a pair of scissors. And they've got basically, I wrap it around the wire like this and stick it to itself. Yeah, it's working well. It seems to stick. Because it's thermal labels, hopefully it doesn't get in a hot day, it doesn't turn all black on me, but I don't think it will. I think it's meant for this sort of thing. So yeah, and you just put a cutter and it comes off. Super cheap. I'm not selling anything like that, but just if you're ever wanting to do it. And then I just cut up all the different labels. Anyways, let's get to go on to finishing this off. I'm sure you know what labeling looks like, but I'll come back when I get this all sorted out, when I get all of the breakers in, and I'll show you kind of the idea behind it. So essentially what happens is the main power goes from this big switch here. It goes all the way to the pool room where the solar panel is and the battery and stuff like that. And then it comes all the way back. It hooks into this thing here, which is kind of like a junction box. That then distributes all of the power to these things, which are basically shutoffs. So what you would do is you would shut off here for the pool room. There's another box going in there. You would shut off here for the laundry room, and you would shut off here for the top floor water heater room. And that controls all those big wires here. So there's one in for this, which goes to the pool room, and the solar panel's out to here. There's one from the main one that goes out, and then all these other ones go into these. So there's 4 more, but I'm only hooking up 3 more of them. So the other one's just going to have it dangling here. And then this thing also, I'm probably going to use a smaller one because I don't actually need that many, I don't think. I mean, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know, we'll see. I don't think I need that many, put it that way. So I'm going to get a smaller box in here because I've just got to get, I can electrify these ones, which will basically feed the small little circuits that'll do the lights and the plugs in the living room and that sort of thing. So there's really going to be 2 more in here, maybe 3, I think, I can't remember what it is. And this thing basically, so this is more like a fuse breaker. So if you have too much power, just to kind of explain it, if you have too much power and you overload the system, this trips. If you get it grounding, so if it shorts out, like if you drop a iron in the tub or something like that, or your hair dryer in the tub, this thing will flip. So it detects if it shorts to ground. And then basically you put this on here. Each one of these boxes have to have one of these. Depending on what it is, you have to have a different unit. So if it's things like an oven, you have to have a different one. So a lot of these, you'll have one of these and you have up to 8 breakers on the thing. And then you have to put another one, you put another 8 breakers in kind of maximum. There's all sorts of really weird, strange, different rules here. But that's the gist of it. So basically you bring your power in, you distribute around, and these shut off all the other rooms. And then I'll have the same board, some larger, some small. This is one of the smaller ones, to handle all the other fuses in the house, which will be a lot of these and then a lot of these. So anyways, that's the overview of what I've got to do. If you see me fumbling around here, I'm just hooking it all up now. I'm going to get all these ready, these all to the right length, leaving a little extra just so there's some space to wiggle them around, and they all go into here, or they go into here. And then I've got to basically take, so this is 16 millimeter wire. It's really good for long distances and for holding a lot of power. Because I'm only going from here to here, I can use a smaller wire, which would be 10 millimeter. But because it's 10 millimeter and it's easier to flex and bend, I have to put crimps on the end of it. So it's little ends caps on them basically. And they go on to these ones. And then I can take from this end, I can just use these, from the bottom, get these. And so this has got to go around all the way up to the top to the back, through the top and then down this way. That makes sense. And then this is what controls the power of it. I don't know if there's actually a directionality to it, but I'm going to do it anyways. You should always flow from the top, go to the bottom, so you know the direction of what things are going. So like I'll be loading the power in here, and you always go from this side, from left to right, like you're reading a book. Yeah, a lot of stuff, but it's interesting. Anyway, so let's get to it and let's see if we can finish at least this panel off before it gets too hot. I got like 2 hours. Things look like I'm doing nothing every day, but it takes a lot longer than you'd expect just because I got to strip all this stuff and bend it, and it's really difficult to bend this stuff because it also kind of doesn't crack, but if there's any kind of gouges in it or nicks in it, it kind of splits, so you have to be careful with it. It's not very easy to work with this stuff. Anyways, let's finish it off. That's enough of me blabbering on. All right, so I've just had a break for lunch. Unfortunately, the cameras died, and because I've got no power, I couldn't charge them. So you missed a lot of this, but I put the board in. It's in its final position. This is where I was going to combine all the stuff together, and I'm going to work on more of that. I've temporarily hooked things back in again. There's a bunch of cables that were coming down here that are now just kind of resting on the floor in the upstairs. My goal for today is to hook up these big breakers, and then basically that'll run, I'll turn on one of the breakers that will do the laundry room sub panel. So I'm going to go, once I get those in, I'm going to run up and put the GTL, which is this plastic thing on the wall, and put in the board for there, and then basically hook those wires up temporarily in that panel, and that's kind of what I'm going to get done today. And that kind of gets me to where I was, but things are kind of in different positions, if that makes sense. So yeah, let's continue on. I've got all this stuff temporarily in there. It'll be there for today. Don't do anything like this. It's not what you should do. But because we have no kids, and it's just me here right now, no one's going to do anything. So yeah, just be careful with electricity. Anyways, the power's fully off. I'm able to work now on stuff. I've got basically the center section done. I've just got to hook these three up, and that'll be the 3 breakers. The main power goes properly in its final position out to the pool room, properly in its final position into this box here, which is kind of a junction box to split everything up. Then I basically have to cut little strips of wire, which will be 10mm wire. It's this stuff here. It's compared to what it was, it's way more flexible, way lighter. It's so much easier to work with. And then basically what I have to do is I have to crimp on some little ends on each side because it's a multi-core flexible wire. And because, as I said before, it's such a short distance, you can have slightly less, still a heavy wire, but as you can see there, it's not as heavy because you don't have to go the distance. But this can run pretty much run just as well as the other stuff did, just not for as long distance. Anyways, let's get to it. Let's hook this all up, and then I'm going to run upstairs. I've got some computers up there, and I got all the networking up there. I've got to kind of drag it out and junk in that little, what will be the laundry room. And then I got to quickly affix the board up against the wall. I may just rest it on something for now. I don't know yet. We'll see. It's a bit of a mess because I don't think I'm going to get through it all done today. It's getting to be about 2 o'clock. It's been so hot, like I'm just sweating in here. Once I get this little area done, and I can keep this door shut, and I can be working, I can just flick this off, leave the main power on, turn off, work on that box, turn it back on, work on the next box, etc., etc. That means I won't have to have all the power off. So that's the big goal. And then I can use a fan up there. I just run an extension cord and I'll be cool, and I can actually get some speed going instead of being like totally soaked and feeling like I'm going to faint because it is extremely hot. It's been, as I said, it's been close to 40 all week, and it's not going to get any cooler anytime soon, which is high for this time of year. We're normally low 30s kind of in June, maybe upper 20s. So this is it's heat wave, but I don't know, whatever's going on, it's weird. So anyways, enough yabber yabber. Let's finish this. Well, good morning. It's been a few days. I haven't been able to work. It's been just so hot. And I've been kind of getting a bit faint and stuff like that. So I've just taken it easy, take a couple of days off, the full weekend off for a change. So yeah, we're way behind on our videos. Sorry. But yeah, it's just been a brutal heat wave for this time of year. Like we kind of expect this in August, end of July sort of thing. You know, a few days in a row. But we've had close to 40 this will be the 3rd week now. And yeah, it's really hard to work when the power's off because you've got no fan, and as I've said before, it's just brutal. And then there's no breeze, it's just all dead, and it's extremely humid for here, which is really strange. So it's like being back in Toronto or being in England or something like that, where it's all swampy all the time. Anyways, I have to do some cleanup. Today we're gonna go and install the GTL, which is the plastic stuff that goes on the wall, and put the panel up. I have the panel temporarily put there. I'm not even going to show you because it's a bit dodgy. Just sitting on the floor, but it has enough just to kind of run lights up to upstairs and into this room. But yeah, this is just all a huge mess. We're in a state of mess right now because I haven't been able to have everything shut off, pull everything apart, take a nice long day and put it all back together properly. So I've kind of been starting and stopping and starting and stopping, and I got all these temporary wires everywhere. But at least Sam's not here, which is good because it's a mess, absolute mess. So yeah, gonna get that up today. Hopefully I can get the one exterior one out and then the one on the top floor as well. Just getting all the plastic GTLs up, get the board mounted, and then if I can run the cable to what this box is, which already has like a couple breakers in it, then I can continue on. And then now that I'm almost done in the front of the house, I'm not, but because I made a big mistake, which I'll show you later. Not really a big mistake, but just wasn't thinking. And then when I'm done with the front there, that means that I'll be able to have at least part of the house always on, and I can just use those master breakers to shut off this, the one upstairs, the one in the pool room, and then I can work on sections kind of at my own pace. A lot of these things we don't need right away. We're not going to be using them for the AC units, or the heat pumps. So we're having a delivery of those, 2 more external units coming today. So it means as of today, we'll have absolutely everything we need to do it. Now I've just got to go and do it, which is a lot of work. Yeah, so I have to basically remove a lot of the tiles from the floors, and I have to run all these copper pipes through the floors, ceilings, whatever you want to call it. And then, yeah, bend them up or bend them down, depending where they are, and I could do all the plumbing for them. It's a huge job. So I'm hoping that I can at least get the first set of 4 done, probably in the next 3 to 4 weeks. You know, it's one of those things, just been so hot that I'm way behind. I thought I'd done this like 2 weeks ago with this electrical stuff, but it's just been so hot. I've been just getting, you know, it's just, no matter how much I drink, I'm just sweating like crazy. And in here, it's cooler than outside, which is why I'm sticking to inside stuff. But it's just completely dead air, and it's humid, and it's like really hot. Like I think at night, even when I open all the windows up and it drops down to about 21 overnight, the house is still at like 28 inside. Like this morning I was pretty happy, got it down to 25, which is fantastic. Anyways, yeah, we just got to keep going, just slowly, so I don't, you know, give myself a heart attack or, you know, faint or anything like that. And then hopefully we'll get some progress going pretty soon. Anyways, let's get to it. I gotta clean all the crap out of here, and we'll put that stuff up and move on to the next one.